What's up everybody, this is Jose from PetRockMedia.com. We are back with another video, and today we're talking about our finalized thoughts and overall review of the Apple Magic Keyboard for the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. From its incredible design to its sleek portability to the thinness that this iPad case can provide and the protection it can provide for your iPad Pro, we're going to dive deep into the pros and cons of this iPad case slash portfolio keyfolio, and if this case is right for you and if the price justifies the magicalness that this keyboard can provide. Roll that intro. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button and punch that bell icon. I greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel and helps keep the lights on. So a few weeks ago, we unboxed and talked about my initial impressions of the Apple Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro, specifically the 12.9-inch model. Now initially, right off the bat, the keyboard felt amazing in the hands, the keys felt amazing, the overall travel of the keys was awesome, and the overall build quality was just amazing. Now it's been a few weeks, and now we're going to talk about the pros and cons of this keyboard and if this keyboard is right for you and if you should invest your hard-earned money into buying this particular keyfolio case for your iPad Pro, whether it be the 11-inch model or the 12.9-inch. Now on the topic of that, we'll first get into price. So this retails for $299 for the 11-inch model and $349 for the 12.9-inch model, which is a hefty price tag considering there are some cheaper alternatives out there that can potentially do a little bit more than this one can offer for a little bit less. Logitech comes to mind that can provide backlit keys on top of multimedia keys for a little bit lesser price. Again, when it comes to Apple, as you're aware, you're going to pay a premium for their products. So on that subject, is this worth it? Now I'm going to leave it up to you to kind of decide on whether or not it's going to be worth it to you once I give you my pros and cons. It's going to depend on your mobile setup, on your mobile lifestyle, and if you do a lot of editing that requires a keyboard. If you're more of a mobile photographer and do a lot of key touching and editing with the Apple Pencil, then perhaps a keyboard may not be useful for you in that situation. Perhaps this general iPad Folio case or even a cheaper third-party alternative could suit your lifestyle better, offer a little bit more protection, and still allow you to use your pencil when you do most of your mobile editing. So again, you have to think about what you're going to be using it for and if you actually need a trackpad and keyboard combined in an overall case. Now moving on to the case itself, its weight is a little bit substantial. It does add a little bit of weight to it. However, I'm not going to give you the pros and cons of whether or not you should get another case, because when we look at keyboard cases, common sense is going to tell you that it's going to add some weight. Unless you use the onboard keyboard and a cheap, really thin skin for your iPad, you're going to be adding some bulk and some weight to it, hands down. So if you're the type that weight is an issue for you, then my suggestion would be to get, again, a cheap skin for it, or even one of the more durable skins like from D brand and so forth. Slap a skin on the entire back of the iPad, put a really good screen protector on it, and then just attach the pencil to it and you're good to go. Again, if weight is an issue for you, that would be the route that I would recommend going. It's going to be the cheapest alternative to a case, and it's still going to provide you with some protection. Now on the subject of weight, this increases the overall weight to about 3.5 pounds, which in my opinion is not a deal breaker, but again, for those of you who weight is an issue, again, consider the alternative. Another thing that a lot of reviewers do is compare the Apple keyboard and the Apple experience to a Surface tablet and that experience. And those are two completely different experiences in my opinion. Obviously, one's a Windows and one is an Apple experience. One is an Apple ecosystem with a lot of apps. Another one can potentially run full-fledged applications, full-fledged Lightroom, full-fledged Photoshop. So again, the two experiences are going to be completely different. You're going to have your Microsoft fans and you're going to have your Apple fans. And trying to compare the two is like making the argument that pineapple belongs on pizza and ketchup belongs on a steak. You are never going to win that argument, and I'm not going to give you my opinion. You feel free to leave those comments down below. Are you an Apple ecosystem member or are you a Windows ecosystem member? There is no wrong answer, spoiler. Now here are some cons. First off, this is not a one-hand experience. What I mean by that is Apple has become very known to be able to set a laptop down on your desk and with one hand lift the screen. This particular keyboard folio does not provide that. It is going to be a two-handed operation in order to open up the keyboard and the iPad together. So that's something to think about. Now, I know that's a little bit funny to be thinking about that, but again, with your overall experience, and if it's something that you're used to utilizing when you open up your laptop, the experience on this iPad with the keyboard is a little bit different. Now getting on to the keyboard, the trackpad is a little bit smaller than what you're used to, especially if you're coming from a MacBook Pro. That touchpad is massive compared to this one. It still, in my opinion, provides a better experience than one of the Surface ones because I have had experience utilizing the Surface tablets with the keyboards on them. This, in my opinion, blows those out of the water. This touchpad experience is well and by far the best experience of the two. On the subject of the keypad, the keyboard itself does fall under a little bit of the iPad itself when it is in its mounted state. So what I mean by that is as you're typing, your fingers could potentially hit the bottom of the iPad as you're typing. Now again, I've been using this keyboard for a few weeks. It never really was an issue with me, but that is something to think about. Your fingers could potentially be hitting the bottom of the iPad as you're typing. Staying on the subject of the keyboard, it's finally backlit. However, the control of the brightness of the backlit is buried deep into menus, so it's almost like you're stuck with utilizing the brightness that the keypad comes with. I never had an issue with it. I don't do a lot of typing completely in the dark, obviously for eye health. But again, if that's something that interests you, the brightness is going to be very, very finicky when it comes to controlling the brightness of those keypads and the keyboard itself. So other than the price, and you could take that as a pro or a con, those are my list of cons for the Apple Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro. Now we can go to some of the pros. The construction of this keyboard is phenomenal. It is super, super well built. Very little, if any, flex when it comes to holding the keypad in one hand. And it keeps the iPad just incredibly secure. And it very rarely, if any, times fell off due to those strong magnets that are on the iPad and the case itself. Now, as the name leads to it, it does feel like a truly magical experience, especially when you're facing forward and looking at the iPad and as you're typing. It just looks awesome that the iPad is just floating in midair, so to speak, because it's something we're not used to when it comes to having an iPad. We're used to holding it or having it on some type of dock or some type of folio that you have to fold 100 ways to finally get it to stay. And that's just something that's pretty amazing and, in the words of the case, pretty magical when it comes to having the iPad in the keyboard case. Now, one cool thing is that it does provide pass-through charging courtesy of the USB Type-C port. It doesn't allow for data, so that is only a charging port. However, now it frees up the physical USB Type-C connector on the iPad to live that dongle life if you need to plug in many accessories and data accessories to your iPad, whether it be a microphone, hard drive, you name it. Now you have a free port to plug in one of those dongles and attach all your accessories that you need. So that about wraps it up, guys. For me, this keyboard case is a major win, depending on the situation though, with that particular caveat. When it comes to my mobile photography, will I need this keyboard instead of using the onboard keyboard that comes up through software on the iPad? The answer is no. I don't physically need a keyboard in order to do my mobile photography. However, videography, utilizing LumaFusion, this keyboard has come in a major good way to help with assisting in video editing, specifically using LumaFusion. So if you're a videographer and photographer and do a lot of multimedia style of editing, then this keyboard, in my opinion, is a major go and a major win for your iPad. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. For me, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up, and it's something that I've been utilizing for the past few weeks, and I cannot see my iPad without this. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and punch that bell icon. And this is Jose once again from PetRockMedia.com, signing out, guys. Peace.